Hey, what's up? It's your favorite YouTube guy. It's Andrew from DA Wrestling. How you doing? This is the Wrestling So Far this week of the new year. We're talking about some stuff. Talking about a couple things that happened on Raw, a couple things that happened on NXT. Why? Because it's absolutely bloody hilarious and kind of controversial, and I want to talk about it. Makes a lot of sense though, too, but not really either. Not really. We're gonna talk about it. Some things are good, some things are bad. We're talking about some things. This so far is the week that is. The first week of New Year wrestling. This is DA Wrestling, folks. So we're gonna talk about some stuff. Before we get started, though, make sure you like, share, subscribe down below. Small click for you, big click for us here at DA Wrestling. We appreciate you all. Thank you very much. By the way, if you haven't seen the last video there, make sure you follow. Make sure you go on and take a look at it. Link will be probably around here. Pop it up on there. Don't forget the audio version is also on Spotify as well as Podbean. We're gonna talk stuff right now about Raw because I want to get that off my chest. I've been thinking about it for a couple days. I saw Raw, watched Raw. I didn't want to do a review right away because, quite frankly, I wanted to let it digest, let it mold in me for a little bit. But we're going to talk first off about the women's tag team title change. Now, some people out there are like really happy. Yay, Rhea Ripley got the title with Io Sky. Yay, Riho. Look, my personal opinion, as much as I like Io Sky, and much as I like Rhea Ripley, God knows it's been followed here before the show. I don't think it was a good idea doing this. I mean, it's absolutely dumb. Absolutely not the best thing they could have done. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky don't need the tag team titles. Now, that being said, I think right now that since they did this, I really hope it's going to lead towards an Asuka turning on Kairi Sane relatively soon, right? Or maybe they get another shot at the titles and then they'll turn, right? Beat the living crap out of Kairi, which then lets Asuka move right into the main title picture to get the title back, become the new women's champion of Raw. I think that'd be a great idea. If that's what the plan is. I hope it is. Because right now, I don't see the point of it. It's absolutely dumb. Like, Ripley doesn't need the title. In fact, she doesn't need a title probably for the rest of her career. She's so over. Right? Io Sky probably argue the same thing. Right? They'll eventually probably get the titles anyway. And, I'd be okay with that at this point. But right now, I don't think they need them. Right? Unless, like you want to build this tag team division more, well, give it to people who aren't a usual tag team. Just because they're friends doesn't make them a good tag team. All right? See that? Doesn't work that way. Right? If Asuka decides to go on a world title run, and that's what they want, that's their plan is to have her win the Rumble, right? Because I think that's the most logical reason for her to, logical thing to do, have her do is win the Rumble, right? Go on to WrestleMania, face whoever the women's champion may be at that point in time. Because you know what? They have the Elimination Chamber, you also have the Rumble before Mania. Right? So there's plenty of time to also take a title off somebody. Do I think they're going to put on the Kyrie or Io? No. Well, maybe. But I don't think that's going to happen in the slightest. All right? So, I think that's absolutely dumb that they did this. I don't like it. I think it's ridiculous. Right? Unless the plan is to move Asuka into the main title picture for the world title for the Raw Women's World Title, then fine. But if that's not gonna be the case, and Asuka's not gonna win the Royal Rumble, then what was the point? Seriously, somebody raise your hand and comment down below. Tell me what the point is. All right? Maybe I'm missing something here. All right? Anyway, Moving on to another title change that happened on Raw, and that was Becky Lynch beating Maxine Dupree. Now, and I talked to somebody about this too. They said, "Oh, it's not a bad idea." I mean, like they took her offer because Maxine Dupree's going on her honeymoon because she just got married over New Year's. Okay, how long she gone for? You guys tell me it's about a week. Okay, my response simply is this: well, then what's the point of taking the title offer? Because there's no point unless she's gone for a month and a half, 2 months. But even then, right? Even then, people go away for a week, for a month too, and come back and they're still the champ. The whole such thing as a now 90-day complete compete clause or 60-day compete clause they used to have in the WWE as a thing was nonsense, right? Now Becky cheating in a win was kind of ironic because she claimed that the whole thing was like that Maxine cheated, therefore Becky cheated. We're gonna build this way up to like, make Maxine Dupree into this like go out for revenge, almost like a analyzer. I don't know if you guys watch UFC now. I used to watch a lot of UFC back in the day, right? Georges St. Pierre was the welterweight champion, right? Overconfident, right? Went in, faced Matt Serra, got Nolly laid out, comes back, and regains his title. He's more aggressive and like never really loses again. Now maybe that's what they want to do with Maxine Dupree. I'm okay with that to a degree. I don't think Becky Lynch needs the title either. There's some people at this point in time I don't think they need the title at all. Becky to me didn't really elevate that IC title at all. They really did. Now, it didn't make much watch TV, despite what some people may think or say. So I'm not really entirely cool about this, right? I'm not saying I'm the biggest Maxine Dupree fan in the slightest. I really am not. I just don't know. I understand the point is if she's just going away for a week, they can have a match down in a week and a half after she comes back from her honeymoon, and then just have to put the title back on Maxine Dupree. It's like just playing hot potato. Seriously, makes no sense. Not a fan of it. Right now, maybe they have other plans for the title. Maybe they have. Maybe they have somebody else go for the IC title who's eventually going to win it. Maybe it's going to be, the returning Liv Morgan who we saw on Raw. Defeat Lyra Valkyria. I guess they've done with her, right? Maybe that's going to have Liv go against Becky, renew that little bit of a rivalry, or that little bit of competitiveness, right? And have Liv become the IC champion, and have her hold the title along with as the IC champ for a while. Maybe that's the plan. Which in case I might be fine with. I'll probably be fine with. Right? But yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on. The main event of Raw there. CM Punk, Braun Breaker. That was a good match. That was a really good match. Quite happy with it. I like the part where Braun Breaker got a little overconfident in himself. I was found too is like now people are gonna say it's not. This is a little controversial here because some people will argue and just disagree. Maybe say, "Oh, well, it wasn't a clean victory." Hey, what kind of was a clean victory, folks? Right? Nobody cost CM Punk the title there. Nobody cost Braun Breaker the title there. It was a clean victory. Yeah, there was some little shenanigans in the middle of the match, but they all went away. They came in halfway through the match, left, did the little part, left, came left, and CM Punk ended up winning with a knee to the head and then it go to sleep. It's quite good. It made Braun Breaker. I don't think it buried Braun Breaker in any way. So if you're thinking I was going to say that, you're wrong, dead wrong on that one. But I think that Braun Breaker is going to be a future champion somewhere down the line, just not right yet. We talked about this on our last show when Doug was on the show with us, and we talked about the possibility of Braun Breaker becoming, as a prediction, becoming the world champion at some point. I mean, he said probably before Mania. Now you can still do that, but I said too you could also still do Punk versus Seth. I didn't say on the show. I did mention that though in passing. You can still do Punk. In other episodes I've done said I could be Punk versus Seth at Mania. Also said too, who it also said too that possibly could be. Now they said I'm not gonna say Roman Reigns versus Punk because I was like that's gonna be set up. They might do Roman Reigns versus Cody 3. Nobody really wants to see that, but it's a possibility, right? Now, who Punk's going to face at Mania? Hard to say right now, right? The Rumble, like I said, is very hard to determine who's going to win the Rumble this year. I kind of said Oscar just moments ago, right? If that's going to be the case, we have Oscar go for the title and win the title at Mania. We're okay with this, right? But Punk winning Braun Breaker versus Braun Breaker was the right call. Braun doesn't need the title yet. He can get the title. Hell, if you want you can put the title on at like say SummerSlam, right? We'll see what happens. But overall, I thought it was a really good match. Moving on to NXT though, because I've talked about NXT for a bit, right? We talked about people, how like they took the title off Maxine Dupree, right? Because Becky Lynch. Well, Thea Hale, about a couple weeks ago, won the women's North American title off of Blake Monroe. Okay, before formerly Mariah May, right? Now, Thea Hale got attacked by Blake Monroe before her match. And since she had an open challenge after the match, after she got hurt, everybody advised against it. Jordy Grace was like, "Hey, you should let her go do it. She always wants to do it. Let her do it." Almost like push her in there, right? So Thea Hale goes in there. Whoever gets to the ring first gets a challenge against me in an open title match for the North American Women's title. Well, as Peyton Paxley, who came out in the early night against Izzy Dame, beat Izzy Dame, you think, well, Peyton Paxley makes the most logical sense. She won the North American Women's title for a little bit. She held it, right? It's a rematch. No, sorry, she didn't have the women's title. She held the NXT title. Wrong title. My apologies. Right? So, as Peyton Paxley comes out with a chainsaw, scared everybody away. Crazy girl that is. Big fan of her. Right? Kind of dig crazy chicks. Not so bad with the girl who likes to run around with a chainsaw. Pretty good with that. So, anyway, she comes down. Before she even gets in the ring, Izzy Dame jumps in the ring and clocks Thea Hale. Now, obviously, Patty Paxley lost her shot. It's funny because Izzy Dame lost that night. And then, at the end of the night, becomes the Women's North American Champion. Right, off a vicious Dame bomb off the second rope off to Thea Hale. Thea Hale was literally a transitional champion. Didn't even defend it once. Lost in her first defense. Right? Now, I'm okay with this because it kind of prevents the storyline a bit more too. With Peyton Paxley going to go after Dame, probably want to go take her title away after considering the fact that Dame cost her the women's title to begin, the women's NXT title to begin with. So I'm okay with this. But it's really cool to see Izzy Dame, who is apparently dating Braun Breaker in real life, and she's a champion. He's not. Although, he's been a champion for several times, and she's been nothing. So it kind of works out. Moving on to the last part of the show. So far, prediction has been made, and we've been right on it. Oba Femi is leaving NXT. Now, he won his match this week, right, on NXT against Tavion Heights, his name is always, or Tavon Heights, or whatever the heck his name is. No, Leon Slater of the TNA won his match, and as they have this big thing in the back, right? They come out and say something's wrong with Oba. He's gone, right? And left his title there. So it looks to me that they're going to be having an NXT men's title tournament to determine who's going to be the next NXT champion. Because Oba Femi just vacated the title and he's on his way to probably Raw or SmackDown. Now, probably most likely Raw because there's a promo of him on Raw this week. So, Oba Femi going to be on Raw. So far, that prediction we made up, Oba Femi becoming a champion at some point, sounds like a pretty good idea. Interesting, eh? Anyway, looking forward to it. I'm a big fan of Oba Femi. I think he's a great talent. I think he's fantastic. He's perfect for Raw, I think, in my mind. Right? I don't want to see him go to SmackDown. I feel like just get crapped on. Right? I feel Raw is a better place for him right there, too. I mean, can you imagine Oba Femi versus Braun Breaker? I mean, that'd be a fun time. Right? So the ruler. I like that whole thing. It's great. Also opens up too for Ricky Starks to get the NXT title back. Although people seem to be crapping on him lately. I don't know. Who knows? It's a thing. It's too much of the crap with the Rock. Kind of be the Rock stuff. It's just doesn't fly. Ricky Starks didn't fly with me, and when he was in AEW, doesn't fly with me now. Simple as that. Let's stay with that. But hey, that's pretty much your weekend review so far. Right? This is AEA Wrestling. Thanks for watching this episode of DA Wrestling. We appreciate you watching it. Make sure you follow us there on X at DA Wrestling. Make sure you follow us here on YouTube at DA Wrestling. Make sure you follow us on the audio version of this stuff on Podbean as well as Spotify. We thank you very much. Talk to you guys soon. That was the week that is so far. Whoa. See what happens later on this week. Later.